Welcome to the show, Eddie. Thanks a lot for coming on. And so, Eddie Sanchez, you're a filmmaker, screenwriter, and just a little bit, offline. You tell me about you're up all night pitching to investors, working on screenplays. So how's that going?
It's going pretty good. Just like with anything, I feel like every project is different. So when you're pitching a project, it starts, let's say, at 300,000-400,000. Then if you get like a big star, then it goes up to more than $1 million, and that just complicates the project a lot more. So it's like drama sometimes. It's like a series.
Right. It's like a whole series within itself.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I understand. Before the quarantine, I worked as an AD on a number of independent features and TV pilots, and there were a couple of them that we had, some recognizable names and faces, and we were able to get a little bit more money and a little bit more backing. But at the same time, like with that could also add, extra stress with dealing with more agents, or having to battle with SAG, or
oh my God, that's crazy.
Or hunt down, actors that are staying at other hotels that are bigger and nicer, further away from the set or whatever. So it's the little things that just start to add up.
No, you're right. You're right. So I don't mind it. It's part of my job. But like I call myself director, writer, whatever the film needs me to be.
Yeah.
So I'm a jack of all trades, right?
Yeah. We're wearing multiple hats all the time.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah. And you're based in New York?
Yes, I'm based out of New York, right, for now.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. So what have you been up to lately? How's this quarantine, this shelter in place hit you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've been home a lot because I write, so it's nothing that different. When you're a writer, the only thing that changes is it's stressful to be under quarantine. Like you don't want to be, what do you call it? Nobody wants to be under quarantine, So it kind of puts a stress on me, and it's harder for me to write. So I have to force myself to write. I mean, it's my job, but you kind of have to force yourself to write. Because I don't know about you, but being creative for me, I like to go drive. And that's how I usually do my best writing. I write and I fly. I drive and I free my mind.
Yeah.
I have to be, stuck at home. It's hard to write.
No, absolutely, yeah. And just being outside your comfort zone might either help you out or block you up. And I get that, where before we could go to the gym, and at the gym, I might be working out at the gym, and I would get a total rush, a total flood of new ideas or better ideas for ideas I already had, and I'll start jotting them down there in the gym. I got a small little notepad there, and I'll just start jotting these notes down, and then take that back to the office and write that down, or implement that somehow. But you're right. Just being cooped up in the basement, being cooped up in the lounge, or being cooped up in the office the whole time. You kind of have to force the ideas out, and maybe they're not as creative, and not. It's like COVID brain. Like everybody's getting COVID brain.
Yeah, and everybody's scared. The one thing that we all have in common is that we all have the common thing is fear. We all have a fear that we're gonna get it, or somebody we love is gonna get it. So it's a scary thing. So that's something that's bringing us closer together in this divided world. I feel like a fear does sometimes brings us more together. Sometimes.
No, I think I agree. There's been times where fear. I think during World War II, we ended up putting together internment camps for Japanese Americans, and that's where our fear kind of overtook us. We got the best of us. I think there was a lot of racial tension and cultural bias tension after 9/11, and again, there was a lot of new elements, to that sort of threat, you know, that people didn't handle the fear, people didn't handle the stress and anxiety level. But with this, I think what we come to realize is, number one, that America is stronger than that, and most of the world is stronger than that, and you know, just the human race is stronger than that. But it's unfortunate that we weren't able to handle these situations as well as we did this one. But the difference is, it's not necessarily a threat we can see or we can stop with our hands. We know we physically can't stop it except for with a mask and with everybody coming together.
Yeah, I agree.
And being safe and being healthy and looking out for each other. That's the only way to stop them.
Yes, I 100% agree. That's why I don't really go into all the politics and stuff like that, because you're dividing people is never good, no matter what's going on. Because the problem is that, you know, in the military, there's only one side. You know, that's what I like about the military. You know, I'm here to guard against threats, foreign threats, you know, and domestic ones. But here, it's everybody's like picking a side, and that's not going to help anybody. So I don't judge people. I feel like people should, you know, like what they like. But this time has proven to be very, just very, I can't even think of the word right now. I'm so tired. But, you know, people are just divided. That's the only thing I can think of. And I wish it was more like the military in the sense that you don't have that option. You got to make sure you take care of yourself, take care of your family, and do what you got to do.
Hey, listen, a virus is not going to give a shit what your political party is or,
Exactly.
or which side you're on. It doesn't care, you know, what your race is. So, you know, it's like, no, you're absolutely right. And like the first and foremost, I'm going to be selfish in saying that first and foremost, I got to look out for my wife and kid. I got to make sure that they're healthy, that they don't get it, so I can't get it. That means I can't spread it. That means I can't, you know, go out there and act like it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I have to act like it exists, even if, like, let's say I'm, you know, a flat earther and I don't believe it exists.
Yeah.
But you know.
Well, seeing is believing for me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody may not believe it, but if you're around people that have had it, you believe it. So you're like, oh wow, it's real.
Right.
You know, like I stay healthy, so I you know, I tend not to get sick a lot. I don't get the flu, if any time. So I feel like being healthy is the only way to like really try to avoid getting really badly sick. You know? That's something we have to do for yourself. You know.
Yeah.
And
couldn't agree more. Well, we kind of touched upon it a little bit, but how have you been affected? You talked about COVID brain, but how else have you been affected professionally? Let's say by the quarantine.
Well, what it does is it puts everything on hold. Even though you know nobody's really filming, you know, and if the people that are filming, you have to, I think like $1 million project right now goes up by like 200,000 if you're lucky, just to give you a fair assessment, because of, you know, all the expenses that go up with it.
Right.
With that being said, I feel that this you know, the coronavirus it's causing so much havoc. You don't even realize all the havoc that it's going to cause.
Oh, yeah.
You'll realize it later on. You know, so like all the stuff, all the businesses are going to go out. You know, so again, it affects me. You know, and it affects you because you can't go out to your favorite restaurant, or you can't work. You know, it's been horrible. Like I can't describe it any other way. Like from the basic of I can't work, and I just have to like you know plan things. That's all I can do. Plan things, like, you know, plan interviews and talk to people about my projects and get a buzz that way. And that's what you got to do is, you know, just kind of like I feel like this virus has made me more resilient, and it made me think about how I'm gonna attack the business. You know, everybody wants to be, you know, a director or you know, a producer, but you have to like educate yourself on how to do these things. And I feel like this time I'm taking it to be productive. You know, I think don't like they should take this time to be as productive. And instead of saying virus hurt me in this way, I can say the virus this way. You know, again, just try to find the positive in a negative situation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It hit me. You know, I feel like, and I always use the word blessed on this show. You know, you can be as religious or faithful as you want or not, but you know, without a doubt, man. Like over the last 10 years, looking back on what, for lack of a better term, what's fallen in my lap.
Yeah.
And like, and then stuff that got canceled last minute.
Yeah.
And then phone calls I got last minute. You know, like, oh shit, I'm out of work for this whole month. What do I do? This gig fell through. Yeah. And then the day before I was supposed to go on that gig that got canceled, I get a phone call. Hey, bro, what are you doing for the next 3 days? I got a gig for you. You know, like, holy shit, man. And the quarantine happens.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. All right. I always wanted to start that podcast. I guess I'll finish editing all these projects. I'm gonna be out of work for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And I started getting the ball rolling on the podcast. I start getting the ball rolling on some writing. Yeah. I finish up all the editing, and then I get the phone call. Hey, I'm watching your podcast. Cool, you know how to use this. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. Like, hey, I got work for you. And it's like, you know, a lot of people, and then which brings me back to just reflection, like self-reflection. A lot of people have been talking about this. This is the time where it's a self-reflection, meditation, you know, self-exploration. And as I reflect upon it, I'm like, damn, I'm blessed. I got, you know, me and the wife brought home the kid about 6 months. This was 6 months ago. Thank you. And it's just like me and the wife kind of reflecting on ourselves and getting to know each other even better.
Yeah.
And really starting to be hands-on with this kid. And I brought this up probably every episode, but you and I as a kid, we always heard about, as far as parenting goes, you and I always heard about the first word, the first step.
Yeah.
But the first time that they said mommy or daddy to the parent. But for me and my wife during this time, it's been like every micro evolution. I mean, we're seeing him start to crawl. Like he's like shrimping. If you're an MMA fighter, he's doing all the shrimping. He's rolling around and he's shrimping, and he'll be on his back with his head on the top of the crib. And then we come back, we come to check on him an hour later. He's on his stomach with his head at the bottom of the crib. So he did a complete 180 and he rolled over it. And it's like, wow, like this, but it's like the micro evolutions that we're watching.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. They grow up so fast. It's true. You know, I remember my daughter, my youngest is 8 now. So I remember her in the crib moving all around. So it goes by really fast. Yeah. So I feel people say that all the time, but it's true. You know, we're here for a very short amount of time, right? You have to enjoy it. I think some of us are taking the time to enjoy this. You know, some of us aren't, but I think and it sounds like you are too. You're taking the time to enjoy life in a sense, even though it's not ideal because of outside situations. You're trying to control the inside situations that you have control over. So I think
I always take a look at the positives. I always take a look at the ups. Like, what can I get out of this? How can I make this better? Yeah. And you may know, you know, from deployments, you know, previous deployments. I deployed once. I deployed once in 2014 to Kuwait, and we had a very simple mission out there. Yeah. All that downtime, and so I could have been out there getting fat, eating fast food, and just watching movies. But you know, I started getting myself on a schedule that had nothing to do with their schedule. Their schedule was so simple. It was all this free time, and so. I killed a whole shitload of civilian work prep, which is film work prep and development. Killed a whole shitload of that. I was in the gym maybe 2 to 3 hours a day every day.
That's great.
Ran every other day. Back then I caught up on my queue and my watch list. Here, not during quarantine I didn't, because I got a wife and a kid to contend with. But there in Kuwait, I caught up on everything, watched everything, was able to just, start marking everything watched.
Yeah.
So as far as this quarantine goes, just being cooped up on base, and in Kuwait, it was so complicated to get off base.
I know. I was there.
It's not a combat zone, but who the hell wants to go through that? It's like a combat. It's like a combat zone trying to get off base.
Yeah, no, it is. You have to be careful. I know people in Kuwait that they try to take like some girls, So you have to be careful. No matter where you are, if you go to Kuwait, you gotta always keep an eye on things. Like the where we stayed, there was like bomb barriers, and
of course,
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh yeah. Of course, we had those too, but yeah, like you said, no matter where you go, there you are. There's going to be somebody trying to take advantage of you, rob you, kidnap you, or something. I mean,
yeah, of course.
Whatever. But no, seriously, we actually went off base. Well, there was a number of times where my unit would want to go off base for this, that, and the other thing, and I think I went with them twice.
Okay.
For personal stuff, and then there was a bunch of other missions and a bunch of other tasks that we had to go off base for. It took us from our barracks to outside. It took us 45 minutes to get off base. You get in the car. So once you get in the car to the point to where like you're outside the gate, it's 45 minutes. It's like, bro, I could have watched an episode or two or something. So when they were like, hey, we're gonna go off base, we're gonna go to Faha Hill, we're gonna go to Kuwait City, I'm like,
nah. I'm not into that. I wasn't into that. I didn't really go out that much.
I read a lot, so like this quarantine, I took it as like this, hunkering down. This is what we've been preparing for. It's The Walking Dead, man. We all watch The Walking Dead. How are we going to handle this? Yeah. And I said, hey, we're just going to hunker down. And then, thank God, we as a society, like you said, we've really been looking out for each other, finding these alternative ways of production, alternative ways of meetings and networking, and alternative ways of entertaining each other and schooling. She's a teacher, so we've been battling with Zoom with her.
Yeah, that's dangerous. She probably has to go back to school now.
Yeah. I mean, she's Zoom teaching, but she's back to work now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, but they're gonna eventually make them go back to work, like in person, right?
Well, Maryland is like, I don't know what the fuck's going on with Maryland, man, because Hogan's a Republican, so I guess he's trying to stay on Trump's good side. And since I'm still serving, I'm cautious about what I specifically say because I'm still enlisted.
No, trust me.
But what I can say is, thank God Hogan, even though he said this is what he wants, he's leaving it up to each county, and right now the county said virtual for at least this semester.
That makes sense.
I don't want her going back to school. Listen, they quarantined off a whole school. Yeah. I think like late August they quarantined off an entire school.
Wow.
It might have been Florida though, but because Florida's really doing bad with this thing, I think. They just had like another instance. They just had 66 people, a group of 66 people that know each other. Yeah. Get coronavirus, get COVID from the coronavirus. One died.
Oh wow, that's so sad.
But 22 of these 66 went to a wedding reception. Yeah. So 22 of those people were at this wedding reception.
Oh my God.
They all got it, and then the 22 turned into 66 by spreading it.
Yeah, of course.
And then one of those 66 passed away from it. So it's like that. Just one fucking night, man.
Yeah, but you don't want to be the person that dies. That's the problem. Like, if you give it to somebody else and they got it, they die. That's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want my wife to die from it. I don't want my wife to get it. Yeah, and then pass it off to somebody else that dies from it. And then there's that guilt. It's like, I knew I shouldn't have gone out. I knew I should not have gone out. It's something as simple as this. Like when we were kids, your boys are trying to get you to go out to a party, and you're like, man, I got something kind of important the next day. Nah, man, it'll be fun. It'll be cool. And it's fun. It's cool, but you had one too many beers. You were hungover. You were sick at the thing you went to, or you missed it. Yeah. Or, you were throwing up at it. Yeah. One too many times I've done that. Now here's a situation where like it's life or death.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't be going to this reception.
Yeah.
Maybe if I wear a mask, aka maybe if I don't drink as much.
Yeah.
Maybe if I wear a mask, you know, aka maybe I won't smoke so much.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if I wear a mask and hand sanitizer, it'll be okay. It's not, man. It's like people are still getting it. The Rock just came out with it. Robert Pattinson just came out with it. They had a whole Batman production.
Wow, that's crazy though. I heard about that. That's crazy. Even the Batman got it.
Even the fucking Batman got it. Dude, come on. So, I mean, that's a different situation. I'm sure they had a COVID compliance officer. I'm sure it was a fluke. He got it from that one fucking way of getting it. He touched the corner of something and
you never know. You never know. These people
never know.
Yeah, you never know. I agree with you 100%. But that's what makes it so expensive to even to shoot, because you have to take so many precautions, you know. So and if somebody gets it, I mean, they could sue you. Anybody can sue you for anything, you know. So you know, but I don't know. I feel like we should do it at whenever we feel we're ready for it. I heard that they're trying to like speed up a vaccine. Yeah. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I want a vaccine because I personally don't feel like I'm the type of person that can take a vaccine, because I never do get like the flu vaccine and I never get sick. So what changed? What doesn't work? Look, all this time I've been around. I'm sure I've been around people that had COVID, and I've been great. So you know, so I keep my distance. If they have a vaccine, it means we can go back to normal.
That's basically it for me.
That's the way I'm looking at it, right?
Yeah.
So
when I see that headline, vaccine, I'm like, okay, the second I get that, then it's slowly, because still, again, first vaccine, no one fucking knows. Yeah. I mean, how long have they been doing flu shots?
It takes years. It takes years.
Like the flu, I don't know when the first flu shot was, but
I'm not sure. Influenza, 1918, influenza came out. So I don't know when they actually came out with a vaccine, you know, but.
Right. And so I get the flu shot every October drill. They give me a flu shot.
Oh, they gave it to you. Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
But I still get sick.
Yeah. So, it kind of gets you sick. It kind of gets you sick, though. That's the whole idea, right?
That's the whole idea. It's giving you this dumbed down version of it so that you're not getting the full thing. But I think like every 3-4 years, and my wife can tell you, there was one year I got the flu and it was like I was dying for like 3 days. I'm a lot like you. I almost never get colds. Yeah. I probably do way too much vitamin C to where it's a waste of money. I'm just pissing it out, you know, that day. But vitamin C and all these other immunity boosters all day long, every day. I eat pretty healthy. I'm in pretty decent shape for 40 years old.
Yeah.
But I think my wife has seen me get sick twice. Yeah. She's like, "You are the worst when you get sick." Yeah, because it's finally my immune system is shutting down and rebooting, and you're seeing like the absolute worst only for 5 days, but you've only seen that twice. Yeah. You know, like when else do I ever get sick? My wife's always kind of like not feeling good, you know, a lot.
Well, you know, I'm going to tell you, be careful what you say, because the wives always listen.
Yeah. But she's only seen that twice. So, you know, that's like a paid, that'll be just like a little vacay I'll take in the guest bedroom and just hide out. Just watch Netflix for 5 days straight, just getting over this flu.
Oh, yeah. No, you know, that's so funny how Netflix probably they've gotten so much profit from this. Netflix, all these other streaming things. Yeah. I've never watched so much TV ever. Like, you know, like I was watching I think Lucifer. It came back.
I keep hearing about this show. Like, you're not.
Oh, it's amazing. You have to watch it. You have to watch it. That's your homework.
Okay.
If you're into that type of stuff, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been, you know, like me and a couple other people were all sharing each other's, you know, passwords and logs and whatever.
Oh, we got
Netflix, Hulu, Prime, Disney Plus, and those are like the paid ones. And then I started on what's this Tubi. It's all like the really.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
it's all like the bad 80s and 90s stuff that you saw at Blockbuster, that one cover box.
Yeah.
Like, it looks bad, I want to get it, but you didn't.
Yeah.
And now they're all on TV.
I love everything is streaming now. I love 80s. At 80s. Love John Cusack movies. Things like that. I love the 80s. It brings back that nostalgic feeling, reminds me of being younger. We're around the same age, so it just gets that feeling, watching like an 80s movie, you're like, I remember what I was doing, So
have you seen Cobra Kai on Netflix?
I think I might have seen like one episode, but I'm not really like a big fan. But I did love the original, The Karate Kid.
Yeah.
But again, I heard it's good, but I haven't watched it really,
Yeah, I was a big fan of the original trilogy, and they took like a really cool, turn on it, where they made Cobra Kai about Johnny.
Yeah.
And like everybody pops up back in the show. You're just like, wow, these actors are still alive, and they're playing the same exact character, the same exact way they did 35 years ago.
Except Mr. Miyagi, of course.
Except for Mr. Miyagi, of course. It's unfortunate,
it's unfortunate.
But they found a way to spice in some old stuff, and they found a way to like, do some artistic ways of. They found a way. It wasn't like what they did with Star Wars, where they were able to like CGI someone's entire face. They didn't do anything like that. It was kind of like that over the shoulder stuff. But there's a couple of scenes where, like, Mr. Miyagi does pop up.
Really?
But
amazing.
I'm not gonna say how, but they found like this slick way of kind of finding somebody else to like fill in the shoes.
Yeah.
In this way.
They did that for the movie with Paul Walker, the last one.
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. I stopped watching it because I was so sad about his passing. I was a big fan of his, and I loved the Fast and Furious films. And after he passed, it just didn't feel the same. So it wasn't the same. I stopped watching after his movie.
Yeah.
After he passed. Yeah.
I think that was either Fast 7 or Fast 8 was Paul Walker. Seven was Paul Walker's last one. And dude, that was heartbreaking, man. When they did that whole montage of all his movies.
Yeah.
Like, wow. But that was pretty emotional. Even for like, tough ass, car guys, action, drift car, muscle car kind of dudes. It's like,
again, we're the same age. We're the same age. And when you have somebody that passes away that's your same age group, you're like, feel it more, right? You ever feel that? You're like, wow, Kobe was 40 or so, like anybody around your age range, you're like, you feel your mortality kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what happened.
And also you're like with Chadwick Boseman, like,
oh my God. Yeah.
I saw him come up, and I knew him from a couple of small projects. And then I saw because I was following Anthony Mackie from like when he first got his first gig with Spike Lee, and he ends up being Falcon, and then Chadwick got Black Panther, and then even before that, like I grew up with Robert Downey Jr. 80s movies.
Oh yeah.
So people don't really realize back in 2008 when he was Iron Man, everyone was like, really? Yeah. And he fucking blew it away, and I was like, this is gonna be his comeback. He was in so many classic 80s movies. So many classic goofy 80s movies. And then he got, I think he won the Oscar for Chaplin, playing Charlie Chaplin. And then a bunch of shit B movies, a bunch of like low budget B movies that he's doing just like us, because he had to. He did
B movies? Robert Downey Jr. did some B movies?
Jeez, what is this movie called? I just saw it.
Yeah, because you mentioned that. I was like, whoa, I should ask him. I should talk to him. You never know. Right?
Yeah, man. But he did this movie with Billy Zane.
Okay, Billy Zane.
Yeah. And it was like a late 90s movie.
I know he did Bang. I think it's Bang Bang. I saw that. I think it's Bang Bang.
So Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was kind of like
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Well, I think that's the movie that got him Iron Man. So
really.
Long story short, okay, you've seen Predator with Schwarzenegger, right?
Yes, yes.
You remember the dorky kid with the glasses and the radio?
Yeah, yeah.
He was a part of the squad. That's
Yeah.
Shane Black.
Oh.
So Shane Black was in that movie.
Mhm.
Made a bunch of money. He started networking as an actor, but also he wanted to write. And then he starts writing stuff and starts producing stuff. I think he acted in a couple other things, but his big acting role was he was the radio guy in Predator, right?
Yeah.
And so then he starts writing, and he wrote and directed Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Oh my God.
And so he put Robert Downey Jr. in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah.
It was so good. Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. were so good in that movie. It was hilarious. It's one of the best like buddy crime caper flicks. Yeah. And so then Shane, I guess, introduced him to Jon Favreau, because Jon Favreau and Kevin Feige are responsible for basically starting the MCU. Jon Favreau wrote and directed Iron Man, and I think Shane Black somehow was either a co-writer of the script.
Oh wow!
And or co-produced with Jon Favreau or something. And so I think Shane Black was pushing for Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. Well, he probably got him in. He could have got him in, and then look, we'll give you co-producer or associate producer.
Mm-hmm.
They get credit on the film. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And then Shane Black, I think, wrote and directed Iron Man 3.
Oh wow!
But Robert Downey Jr. is already cemented in as
he's
Iron Man now.
He's Iron Man. He's Iron Man.
But he had the look. He had the hair. He had the beard. He had like a chiseled face. He got in real good shape. He had the whole facade.
Yeah, I can't imagine somebody else being Iron Man after that.
But you can't now.
He ruined it for everybody else. So.
But seeing Chris Evans was the bully, and she's all that.
I know. I have that movie actually. It's so funny. I love that movie. It's so funny. I like it.
And so when I saw him as Captain America, I was like, nobody else.
Yeah.
Nobody else. This goody two shoes, pretty boy.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what Iron Man used to call him throughout all the Avengers movies. It's like,
really?
Yeah, just a goody two shoes, pretty boy. And he goes, oh yeah, what are you? And or he called him something like that in the first Avengers. He called him like Mr. Perfect or something. Goes, yeah, what are you are? And it was billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, genius, something like that. That famous scene. But the second I saw Chris Evans, on a marquee for Captain America, I was like, couldn't be anybody else.
No, he fit the bill. He fit the bill.
Which brings us back to Chadwick. I mean, it's like he was 43.
Wow.
And it was like, bro, he really worked his ass off. He had such a plethora, such a great repertoire of projects.
Yeah. And it was great projects. Like I saw his projects and I was like, he did all these amazing roles and he nailed it. He nailed it,
Mm-hmm. So. And they're all and so different. I mean, Black Panther, and then he plays James Brown, and then he plays Jackie Robinson. Yeah. And then it's like, I always joke, like, all right, so Chadwick Boseman's, contracted to do, I think it was Avengers Civil War, right into Black Panther, right into Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, and then Black Panther 2, and he wasn't able to do Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
But so there was two movies that Chadwick did. There was a movie that Chadwick did and a movie that Chris Evans did. And it seemed like, since they were already in Africa at the end of Infinity War, okay, Chris Evans probably for like a week or two did this movie where he's a Israeli special ops Mossad. Gathering Ethiopian Jew refugees.
Oh wow!
In this true story movie.
Yeah, and he just jumped on it.
So the thing is, like, okay, Infinity War so huge, and then you've got 3 months off.
Yeah.
And I think he just happened to be in Africa, and they're like, hey, we're gonna shoot this movie over here. You want to do it real quick for a week or two? Oh yeah, sure, another paycheck. I'll be right over. He looked no different. He looked absolutely no different than he did with the long hair and the beard as Captain America with long hair and the beard.
Yeah.
He looked exactly the same in this movie. It was just like, just come over here, shoot this movie real quick. Okay. And then he does Endgame. And I think it was between Black Panther and Infinity War, Chadwick did this movie called Message from the King.
Yeah.
Where he's I don't think he's either Nigerian or Ethiopian police detective that comes to LA to look for his sister.
Yeah, wow.
And so those two indie movies, with Chris Evans, the one with Chris Evans, the one with Chadwick. I can't remember the name of the one with Chris Evans, but it's about Ethiopian Jewish refugees. Yeah. Like African Jews, basically.
Yeah.
And then but Message from the King with Chadwick Boseman is a Netflix original. It's a dope little indie flick. Wow. That he just jumped off to do on the side between Black Panther and the Avengers.
That's how you get some movie stars, and you know I'm starting to learn about like that type of business. Some people, whatever. Let's say somebody's a woman's pregnant, an actress is pregnant, and you know I'm just learning this now, and they're like, oh, she's gonna be okay to shoot in whatever in this date, and you find out, I'm like, wait, she's pregnant, and they're like, no, she'll be good to go. It's like it's such a business mentality. I'm like, she's pregnant. No, she'll be good by the time the movie starts. I'm like, wow, it's that type of thing.
And I know exactly, and I get what you're saying, and it's like, no, she'll be off her maternity leave. As a freelance independent actress, she'll be off of her maternity leave. Don't worry about it. She'll be good. But yeah, the best example is, did you ever watch Battlestar Galactica, the revamped 2005, 2006?
No, honestly, I don't think I have.
So the biggest star out of that show, the sexiest actress on the show was Katie Sackhoff, and she was one of the stars of this show. Yeah. Huge hit show. Yeah. But between seasons, she would knock out like 2 or 3 B-level sci-fi flicks.
Wow.
But so she's off.
Yeah.
And she's looking for another gig, like a week or two production here, a week or two production there, a week or two production there, sleep for a month, get back on Battlestar. But she's got 3 films now in between. She knows she's a genre actress. Yeah. She's sexy as hell. She's a really good actress. She's badass. She can fight. And she's doing like these little pocket B movies. Yeah. And then season 2, and then a pocket B movie or 2 pocket little B movies, sci-fi action things. Season 3, and so on and so forth. And like, and that's what I noticed that a lot of people were doing with The Walking Dead. Oh God.
I know
the dude with the crossbows.
I'm trying. Daryl. Yeah. He's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and Daryl was doing a whole shitload of little indie projects, or like A- films or B+ films in between seasons. He did a video game he was in. Wow. He did a couple of obscure indie films and B movies in between seasons. Yeah. And what's funny is Rick Grimes didn't do shit. Rick Grimes stuck with Walking Dead. He was the star of the show. Yeah. So he was like Walking Dead only, and for him, I think it was so much work. He just took advantage of his time off. He was like,
he needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people they already have a good life, and they just they don't need to go crazy. They probably still enjoy their family, which I understand.
Absolutely.
If I go from this project to another one, I need time in between to kind of reflect and think about my next move. I don't want to just jump to another project, Yeah.
No, absolutely. Well, speaking of which, what's next on the agenda? Say next set of goals for say the next 6 months to a year.
Yeah. So all my energy has been focused on the Diary of Kate the Ripper, which is my upcoming feature. I'm directing it. I'm also the writer. I do everything. So I'm working with a production company called Think Arts Production. My producer, Sunflower Duran, is amazing. We're trying to put this project together, so it's going to take probably the next few months. We're hoping to film maybe like in March. We're looking to film maybe in March. So it's just taking up all my time to put this project together, financing and things like that. Having a family, it's hard to like juggle everything, but you kind of have to as a parent, So this project is probably the biggest project I'm going to be involved with. I can't even say who I'm reaching out to, but I'm reaching out to actresses, actors, people I would have never, have imagined that I could reach out to. And, the project started out, and that's what takes so long. People don't understand doing one project, if you're like controlling all aspects of it, you're tied up for like, maybe a year, putting the project together, which it's so much stuff that goes behind it. I can't even stress it enough. Talking to investors, it's a different beast all on its own. So, but again, I want people to really get excited about this feature, The Diary Kick the Ripper. It's this thing I wrote a while back because I'm a big history man. Like I love history, so I was like, nobody ever knew who Jack the Ripper was. But how about if I give people who he was in a sense, I'll give him like his great granddaughter, so I kind of humanize him. I think, like even, we don't know anything about Hitler, like people like that in history. So people, even though they hate people like Jack the Ripper and Hitler and people like that, I think people are curious to kind of like find out, what made him tick, or if he had a granddaughter or great granddaughter, what would she be like? And that's what makes this project so interesting. The intrigue behind, oh, Jack the Ripper had a family member. So it's not true, obviously. I made it up, but it's just fun that you could create this world. Again, more stuff takes time to like create a whole world, and there's always constant rewrites of the script, because creating a world, like as like Twilight or any of these other worlds, it sounds simple, have the man fly, but why can he fly? You kind of have to like establish rules, and it makes it so complicated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm looking forward to just really working on the project and bringing it to life with my crew.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people actually on it that are working with me, and I'm pretty excited to work with all these people, that are so talented. They're much more talented than I am, and I'm just like trying to like, hold my own in front of like talented actors and assistant directors and all these people that have so much more experience than me.
Yeah. No, and I've been blessed enough to where I've worked on a number of projects, just seeing different ideas, different takes on things, and but yeah, I think people have this natural curiosity about, like, as awful as someone like Hitler or Jack the Ripper, or oh God, who was that Roman Empire that everybody?
Caesar?
Huh? No, not Caesar. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't remember now.
Oh wait, you're talking about a Roman emperor?
Yeah.
Um,
His name is now like an STD, actually.
I'm trying to think of his name.
But
yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
But there's a movie called Max. It's got, and it's funny, you were talking about John Cusack earlier, and before John Cusack's film career was all like wishy-washy, he did this movie called Max, and it's about a friendship between an art dealer, and Matt. So John Cusack plays Max Rothman, a Jewish art dealer, and his student Adolf Hitler. So Hitler was an artist. Hitler was a vet from World War I, and he goes, and so obviously they lost. So he's a bitter vet over the loss, over his country taking a loss, and probably the government, like revamping the government, probably some outside influence to change the whole Baron von Hausen type of management of that country. But he lost, and he's a vet from World War I. So he's trying to be an artist, and he's drawing a lot of very dark, very bleak, dark imagery in his art. And his art's, a lot of his art is influenced by what he saw in World War I, and it shows that the kind of like the start and rise of who Hitler ends up being. Is that he's this failed artist, failed soldier, bitter, angry guy, and you know, in life, and then touching back on like how we handle ourselves in this quarantine and in this pandemic that we're doing. You know, we all have. There's always this fork in the road. You go left, you go right.
Yeah, exactly.
And you really got to remember, we're not the only ones here. You know, can't be selfish. You know, think of love and think of community first. And it's hard to like make that. Sometimes it's hard to make that right decision to go left or go right. And you can just see him veering way off right.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just the whole country took a loss.
Yeah.
And it was interesting.
Sorry. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's great.
Motorcycle. No worries. But yeah, I mean, you can see in the film, it's an interesting take on like, an early life of Hitler that maybe not a lot of people really ever knew about. And,
no, you're right. I feel like we have a lot of there's only so many stories. Aristotle, 7 stories, right? So I mean, that's the first thing you learn. When you're talking about writing films, you learn about Aristotle and how many stories, and there isn't that many stories. It's just different points of view, right? Because again, even if I was to do this, is not really exactly on Jack the Ripper. It's on the Descendant, but there's always a way you can do a story. Like they've done stories on Jack the Ripper. So then so when you're doing something, all you gotta do is kind of put your vision on it, how you see the story, or how you want to shape the story, and that makes it different. Because we've seen everything, right? Somebody gets shot, somebody falls in love, right? There's only so many emotions, right? But it's just how you bring it to people. Like when people start doing like iPhone movies and things like that, right? So like, oh, wow, that was not an iPhone. That's cool, So it's really dependent on you as an artist to kind of put your spin on it. That's really, that's the difference, that I see.
Well, that leads me to my next point: is what's your view of the new normal?
On the what?
On the new normal.
Oh, the new normal. I feel like people were really distant. It's going to make people more distant. I think it's going to take time for people to adjust to kind of like keeping their distance from people. Like, oh, you can't huff somebody. You think twice about things. I feel like we're in a more of a conscious state of mind. We're becoming more conscious of our actions. You're not just going to touch that doorknob and maybe not put Purell on or something like that. So I feel like, the new normal is a deeper state of consciousness. Think more before you do things. That's how I see things. If you're young, you're still going to do what you do. You're still going to go get drunk,
Yeah, but more conscious of our surroundings. And, more conscious. More cautious. Yeah, I agree. Well, is there a last bit of advice you want to put out there?
Yeah, no, I just did an interview before on iHeartRadio, and the main thing that I like to tell people, young kids, is focus on what you want and go after it, because there's plenty of people, just like stories. There's so many jobs out there. There's only so many stories, but you have to give it your independent take on it. You're invaluable because of what you bring to the table. So be as knowledgeable as you can. So people, they need you. You have to be invaluable because you bring something different to the table. So I think young kids should educate themselves and make sure that they go after their dreams. Because I went to school after I for a long time went back to school so I could learn more about film work, because I wanted to learn more of the art of it, and I feel it helped me. So if anything, it's never too late, and chase your dreams.
Awesome. Well, like, you know, I brought it up before. You know, I always use the word blessed. I had a guest. I had actually 2 guests on here back to back that used that exact word, blessed. And like I said, you know, these last few months, man, I was really reflecting upon how when one thing went away, a new thing popped up. Every opportunity completed, or every opportunity lost presented a new opportunity, or a better opportunity, or a continued advanced, evolved opportunity. And not only is that like the obvious cycle of life, you know, evolution that could be, you know, pinned down in possibly even Darwinism too. It's just that's the evolution. One thing dies, a new thing grows, and so on. But it's like for me, it's like I don't know how I'm blessed in such a way that I was able to study and prepare and work my way into a market, work my way into a system, work my way and build craft and build skill sets and build up my craft to where when something falls through, I still have the knowledge, the tools, the will, and the know-how to just pick it back up and keep moving forward. And where did the blessing come from? You know, I mean, was I blessed from the get-go, and so now it's all me, or is it just these micro blessings? Like, hey, you lost something. Poof, here's some natural new opportunity. Like it's hard. It's still really hard for me to like kind of pinpoint it. You know, if I was to write, had I written out like a diary, you know, I started a web series to kind of document some of the gigs, some of the traveling, some of the crazy shit me and my buddies did. You know, me and the wife and some of those things. But had I kept a daily journal, lost this, next day got that. You know, learned this. And now I'm doing that. You know, it's like it's hard to kind of, you know, I do reflect on it, and I think the good news is like blessed somehow. This is just the best word. I think me saying it, I think me accepting that I'm blessed gives me a little bit of humility. Yeah, keeps me humble, keeps me focused. Yeah, on, you know, the goals. And not really just, you know, getting too pompous or too arrogant about it, and thinking, because if I start getting into that mentality, then it's like, then they won't pop back up. But if I accept that I'm blessed,
I agree.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I feel that you, in my the word that I would use is just good karma. You know, you put good energy out there, you put good energy out there, and I feel like it comes back to you. Yeah. So that's how I look at things. You put good energy out there. When you put all this negative energy out there, you're gonna get it back, unfortunately. So you got to make sure that you start putting positive energy out there, and you know, just people want to be around you, right? So the right people are going to be around you. So that's what you're doing right now. I think you're doing a great job, and you know, keep it up. Good job, military too. So you know,
well, you too, Eddie. You know, keep it up. I mean, you're killing it, and can't wait to hear more about Kate the Ripper. And I'd love to collaborate with you once the floodgates are open. I'd love to collaborate somehow. You mentioned some keywords there, and we can talk offline about, you know, some of that, talking that shop. But you know, before we sign off, any socials, links, plugs you want to put out there?
Yeah, basically, I have a production company which I work with. Not just my production. ES1 Films is my production company. You can find me on imdb.com. EDDY SANCHEZ. My production company is called Pink Arts Peace Productions, Inc. So, you know, it should be easy to find, Pink Arts Peace Productions. They're a great company, and that's really it. Look out for The Diary of Kate the Ripper. It should be coming in 2022. And look for me on social media, EDDY SANCHEZ. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Eddie, I can't thank you enough for coming on. You know, a lot of great insight, a lot of good stories, a lot of good idea, a lot of good idea sharing, and you know, that's what the show's about. So, Eddie, thanks again for coming on. I love the positive attitude, and just it's a, you know, it's a breath of fresh air to see so much positivity. And you're not the only one. A lot of my guests are very positive.
Yeah.
and staying very productive. And that's that's really the point of this, is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and there
We're
is.
together. We're in it together.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Well, Eddie, I can't thank you again for coming on the show to my viewers. I hope I earned the privilege of your time and viewership. I know my guest has. And check us out next time.
All right. Thank you so